Hello, my name's Chris, this is Blue Kraken Gaming, and welcome to our final episode of Satisfactory 1. We started 1.0, but we're now 1.1. But yes, this is it, we've reached the end, because as you can see, it literally just ticked over as I was talking. Phase 5 is complete. Now, it wasn't complete at the end of last episode. All I have done is just turn the game on and let it run, because there wasn't going to be any additional development, it just needed to tick through. So that's it, phase 5 is done. We are going to be doing the space elevator today. So yeah, but where this is our final episode, we're going to do a final world tour. I'm not sure how long the episode is because I'm doing this completely off the cuff. Because, you know, that's how all my videos are, and I think that's why those of you that do enjoy watching me. So that's how we're going to carry on. So yes, thank you very much to my channel members. Your support is very much appreciated. So again, you guys had your billboard. But yeah, literally kicking off the tour. I do appreciate all of the comments and support that I do get throughout doing sort of Satisfactory and all of the other playthroughs. So there are certain members of the community that I do recognise whenever they do their comments. And like it pleases me, and it really still makes me humble that I have all these comments and like all you guys that want to spend time talking with me. So anyway, world tour starting right at the beginning, which was these 3 iron nodes here, and effectively we had a very temporary setup to basically get started with iron extraction. Same with our concrete here, just to get the base started and running. And that then developed onto this floor here, if I turn the torch on, where we are basically making all of our base iron pieces. So these first few, as you can see, we've got plates, we've got rods, and that was where we started, and kind of this has all stayed where it was for, I don't know how many episodes now. And then when we were doing some of the rate upgrades and getting those up to tier 2s, we brought a line in over here, and these guys are making screws. So we've got a lot of iron ingots coming in here, making an absolute army of screws, because you can never have enough screws. Yeah, and this whole facility has just built over time. So the ground floor is doing a lot of early work. So the plates, the rods, the screws, rotors is all here, reinforced plates, all on this ground floor. Tucked in over here, we've got our like animal super factory that just produces the alien protein, feeds it in here, and we've got an awesome sink. Then we've got that up. We've got our terminal with everything done. We've done every tier. So yeah, they're all there. Yeah, that's this done. We've got our MAM. We haven't actually finished any of the MAM trees, which is probably not great. We should probably try and do that. Oh, we could do that. I was wondering how to make the synthetic power shards. Right, where are we? Yeah, we could make that. We absolutely could do that. And then it was some raw crystal it wanted, wasn't it, from upstairs? Yeah, 200 raw crystal. Okay, we're going to go and do that. So, on this floor, we were bringing in quick wire. Trying to remember where that's coming in from. I was shipping it in from outside. But yes, we have quick wire. We've got our quartz, our base quartz facility. So it's not a huge amount, but it's like the starting quartz and silica and stuff like that. And then anything spare gets sunk. This is all then expanded as well. We've got a small steel facility over here that's bringing in the steel ingots and turning them into beams. We've got pipes. We also have SAM coming through. Oh good, that is building. I was worried about that for a moment. Yeah, so we've got SAM coming in. and it's kind of just expanded over time. So we're making our sand fluctuators over here. And what was the AI? We've had the AI limiters going for ages, and we wanted those for smart splitters, which is good. And this whole first facility is just kind of a bit of everything. Right, let's get this done. So then we can make power shards. Yay!
Research completed. Synthetic power shard recipe unlocked. Exchanging regular exercise and filtered fresh air with automation is just the kind of progress Fixit likes to see.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it's time crystals, dark matter, quartz. That's going back a bit. Excited photomatter gives me a power shard and some dark matter residue to then try and sink. Okay. Still, cool that we can make those now. Right, okay, yes, continuing on here, this was then bolted on. We've got a random hodgepodge of things here. So we did then have, down here, we were making our modular frames by bringing in some of the rods and bits and pieces. We also had rotors, and we started to sink some of the spares from there. Now, we were originally using some of this for making some of our tier 1 objective phase assembly parts, but this is still currently making the versatile framework, which I think, can't remember if that's a tier 1 or not, but either way it's making them because they're being fed elsewhere to make other bits and pieces, which is all good, though that's all backed up now, but that's fine. Actually, what we probably should do is move that into just sinking them. So if we grab that, we haven't got another. Have we got? We want a merger, really. Oh, hang on, that's already not onto anything. Fine. Oh, that looks like that should go nicely, but it's not going to. Right. Bring that up round like that, and then round there like that. Cool. Awesome. That's going to start sinking those because we don't need them anymore. That's fine. That's going to keep things running. Anyway, yes. So here we're making our EM control rods from stators and AI limiters. Mixing them with the framework so that we can get the magnetic field generators, which are again one of the project assembly parts. So again, that's fine. We're just trying to get rid of those. Yeah, we've then got over here a facility where we've got Jack, our little dog. Hey, Jack. Right, yeah, we've got a facility here where we're using these nodes here, but what we're actually making with this iron is wire, because we've got the iron wire recipe, so we use that to really free up some of the copper we were using. It wasn't what we started in here. We were actually getting all of our wire from this copper facility over here, which is, again, expanded over time, because we've just continued to upgrade how much this is putting out, which is why we've now got a second line. Now, I have had a few comments recently about the difference between load balancing and manifolds, and I still absolutely prefer manifolds because of how expandable they are. If I'd done this with load balancing, every time I upgraded that, I'd have to rework everything, or just do more power shards. Whereas with at least with a manifold, I run it one way, go up, come another way. Should I need more, I can go up and run it back again. And it's a very straightforward system to expand, and that's why I really like manifolds. I know they're not they take time to spin up, but once they're spun up, I think they're absolutely fine. So yeah, we've got all of that going. We are making, what are we making here? Copper sheets here, because we're steaming them to try and maximize our output, because these guys here that were just making them were not making enough. We've got a little bit of wire. In fact, I think that's almost, no, that's not all the wire we're making. We are taking some of the iron wire that we're making and turning that into cable up here. So we've kind of got like iron cable, as it were. That over there is our Fixmas factory, so I'm not going to go too deep into that because there are specific Fixmas episodes to watch that if you would like. Coming up on a floor on here, we are making circuit boards. We're making... what else are we doing up here? We've got more screws being made because there's always more screws. Oh yeah, for more rotors, that was it. We needed to expand our rotor production because we have got a vehicle depot here, and this was our first truck one, where I was trying to play with it quite a bit. And it goes over to a few places, but the reason we needed more rotors is that is our motor factory over there, and we just needed to get more motors over to it. Now, continuing on this floor, or this first building is a complete mismatch, like I said, because in here we're making computers, which are going around, and again, in this you can tell these were made later because they've all got these overflows for them. We're also bringing in more quartz crystal so that we can make our crystal oscillators, which is what's coming through with all of this, turning raw quartz into quartz crystals. They go up here, he says. Where is that going? Yes, they come around here and they feed into all of these guys to make the oscillators, and then the oscillators are going around the same way as well, again because they are going up because they're needed for various items. We've got a bit of a bit here where this is where we were making our filters for us to, you know, have should we need to go through like gas zones and stuff like that. So that's all being made. So we've got gas filters and we've got the iodine filters in here, so that we can go into radioactive areas or gas. And that was just kind of sat loose with the dimensional uploaders so that we had access to that wherever. We've got our drone depot up here, where at the top floor we're now making... what are we doing here? Turbo motors, supercomputers. We're flying in the cooling units because they're coming from elsewhere. And we've got radio control units, which we had great problems with trying to get enough aluminium items flowing through, but we did fix that. Over here, we are making a ton of silica, a ton of quick wire, and these are making our high-speed connectors needed for said supercomputers. Why are you backed up? I thought you were all going to an awesome sync. Okay, might need to work just very quickly if you'll bear with me for this one. Smart splitter, come on. There. Just going to run that over like that, and then down into there, and then that's going to be overflow. Thank you very much. Cool, so that's going to deal with those. Oh wow, okay, yeah, that needs upgrading. 6, there we go, because we've got Mark 6 belts, so off they go. Cool. That will stop anything happening there. Yes, and we were also making use of a set of copper nodes we weren't touching very much, which is coming in off of this line here. I think they're coming in from... I think it's those two down there. Yeah, it's those ones down there. So those copper nodes there, feeding in on this line coming up here, and we're making copper powder with it for our cubes, or our nuclear pasta cubes, because they need an absolute ton of copper powder, and the pressure conversion cubes. So there's a lot of various bits and pieces flying around, and this first building is absolutely a mishmash of stuff that we needed close to the hub so that we could get it going, because it's also where we finished off a lot of the final items, where over on the right edge here we've got quantum encoders, we've got time crystals being flown in, we've got this excited matter that we're playing with, we've got dark matter. All of it's kind of been mismashed into this area around here to get these final items made and pulled together, which, you know, we've now done. So we've now completed that. So look, you can see there we've got some of our ballistic warp drives just floating along. They should start yeah, they are starting to queue up there because that is all done. So we're still not done at kind of like this first estate. We've got our trains there, which we didn't use anywhere near as much this year as we used in previous ones. And I genuinely think, or we didn't use as much in Season 2 as we did in Season 1. And I think that part of the reason for that was because we had the dimensional depots, I didn't need lots of resources brought back to a central location for me to grab. The downside of that was that it then meant we didn't have the logistics bringing stuff back to a central location to then be used elsewhere, because I'd not been thinking about it because I was just slapping dimensional depots everywhere. And I think that's a bad design choice on my part. I think we should have had as big a train nexus as we had last year, where we were just bringing every item back to a central location en masse. And then it was like, oh, we need this. Well, suddenly we've got to go and set up a load of drone pieces to fly stuff around. I think we'd have been better off bringing it in by train. That aside, we've got some diamond production here. We also have a chain here that we were using for... well, that's the weird thing. So this whole setup down here, all of this is just to produce these smart platings, because we took down everything we were using before to make them, and then we wanted them en masse. So we built an entire factory down here, and that's what all of this is doing, just to make those smart platings. So we've got all the screws being made, we've got rods, we've got plates, everything's being done, and it's all being fed off of these miners here, each going into one of the old, the smelt boxes that we made a blueprint for in Season 1, and we have actually used a few times in here as well. In case you haven't seen Season 1, if I come inside the smelt box, it's basically just a blueprinted box full of smelters. It's got 2 floors of them, it manifolds all of it, and you just feed it in once. Okay, now I've got to try and put that back. There you go. You feed it in once at the bottom, and then it comes out these 2 side bits here. That was only because of a spacing thing that it comes out into, and then yeah, you can just merge those 2 and send them off to where you want to go. And each one of these handles like 480, I think. So yeah, I like the smelt boxes, they're quite good. The default is iron, but you know, we might need to change that. We have set up entire road networks with the train above, which is quite nice. And again, I wish I'd gotten a bit more utilisation out of these, because after a while it just became a bit of a hassle to try and work with them too much. But it was still super useful infrastructure to have. Now here we have our motor factory. That's what this whole building works on producing. So we had a door here. We have got a logistics floor underneath, which is just in here. You can see things going in. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And this was before I had the hover pack, so everything was meant to be walkable, and I was enforced on that because I couldn't hover. So we've got everything being fed in from underneath to give us all of the items we need. So like these are making on concrete, these guys are making steel. Yep, steel. So they're bringing in coal, they're making a steel. You can see we've got a logistics floor under here where everything's just being like tidily put through, but also it comes out to the road network. So we've got tractors delivering stuff backwards and forwards, and it's all coming in through here as well. We've got one tractor delivering like a mix of copper and concrete or limestone. So we've got this smart splitter set up here to split those out and then send it all off to an overflow, so that we never get stuck on this sushi belt, is the gist of it there. It just keeps it flowing, and this is also where we bring the rotors in and stuff. So then again, we just keep coming up, and each one of these is building various stages. So, you know, we're going into our steel rods, not steel rods, steel pipes, steel beams. We're making our reinforced steel rods, encased industrial beams here, which again, we just sent off to a dimensional depot. Why is there a dimensional depot there? Apparently not hooked into anything. Oh no, it is. Okay. Okay, so we've got 2 there, so that's going out twice as fast if we use them, because we were using those a lot at one point. Okay, and again, we come up another floor, and this was all walkable. And here we're bringing in, well, as you can see, we're making wire only on this floor. And then again, we've got stators that we're then making, and they all kind of like do a different thing as we go up a level. So here we are making our automated wiring to ship out should we need to. We're also, what are we doing over here? We're making a ton of cable, sending some stators and cable and everything upstairs to finally pull it all together in our motor production. So we've got them being fed out to be shipped back to the main building, where we've got turbo motor production and the like, because that's what it's predominantly used for. But yeah, that's kind of this building in a nutshell. Which, you know, this was like the first big factory separated from the main base that we were doing. It wasn't too far, and trust me, it was further when we first did it. But that was the plan, so we were getting coal from over there and feeding everything else around. Since then, we've upgraded that coal, and we're using it to try and make some more diamond. So, where shall we go next? I think our next pit stop should be the original oil facility, which was where we first started trying to upgrade. Actually, no. Our next facility that we did, and this will be, we've got nothing else in this direction, so we're going to be heading over there and we'll try it, was our first automated power, which was our coal power plant, which is over here. Okay. So the coal power plant is actually tucked away in a little, like, pit, I think, somewhere around here. So we're going to head over there, and I will meet you guys when we're over there. So this is our coal power plant that we used to do our first power automation. So we were making use of it here because we've got all of these, or we've had this massive lake that we can make use of for all of the water that we would need for it. We've got, as you can see, all of it coming through. It's all pumping up. We've got various pumps to try and keep it all running. And I'll only show you one floor because each floor is a carbon copy of the one above. But again, it's all walkable because that was the requirement we had at the time. We couldn't hover like this. So yeah, that's what it is. It basically brings the water in, feeds it down to the coal power plants. It's quite noisy in here. And manifolds the coal as well. Now, one of the bits that we do with this is we are bringing in 2 pipes of water for each bank of, what is it? It's a bank of 8, I think, isn't it? Yeah, bank of 8. Each one of these uses 50 a minute. So that means we need 200 water. And I don't remember how we set the maths up. But I do know what we were doing was we were bringing it in and we would manifold one out normally. And then we would bring another one in and connect it at the other end. Now that was made to stop sloshing, because if you have it all manifolded coming through and then you've got like one of these at an end, you can wind up with a weird slosh mechanic where the one at the end is not being fed enough water and it stop-starts the whole time, even if you've done the maths to make sure that it lines up perfectly. So what we did was we picked this up at the end of last season as well, on our fuel plants, where you basically just connect a water supply at both ends and it kind of stops that sloshing. So we have done that the whole way along. Every floor kind of looks like this. They're all carbon copies. They're all pretty similar. I don't think we ever got around to fitting... Yeah, because there was originally meant to be a hypertube that we were going to put in the middle here. But I don't think we ever got around to that. But yeah, if we come up a floor, so you can see how they are all basically the same. There you go, you can see we've got it coming in on this side and coming in on that side as well. So it comes in on both sides, feeds the whole way along. So you can kind of see the one in the middle isn't really got much flow, because that should just be holding water should it be needed. But all of this kept us going for quite a while, although I did have to keep coming back and expanding it. So we've got, what, 3 floors of coal generators here, and these guys just, you know, mission along. They never have any problem with it. They just crack on and yeah, I've never had a problem with any of these. It worked beautifully, and that kept us going, like I say, for quite a while. Also early on we went and grabbed that SAM node and brought it down, so we are bringing SAM along here. Now when we first got hold of this we were bringing the raw SAM back, but since then we have just made a very quick little change to refine the SAM, because we can actually transport more SAM once it's refined, so it's more efficient to carry these than this. So we are, yeah, basically moving it all along, so we've got those in stacks of 100 to make it more efficient, and they're trucked backwards and forwards, and that's kind of where we are. So where you can see compared to like the main facility. Okay, up there's not too much other than there's a train station there grabbing bauxite. I'm not going to worry about going and having a look at that, because it just grabs bauxite. That's kind of all it does. The only other building we've got kind of around the I'm going to say like the home base is this one here, which was originally just a truck stop. So we were trucking things backwards and forwards, bringing them in. So like the Caterium originally came in here on this truck stop, but we've since just belted it because the belting was more efficient. But we do still bring some coal, and I think this is where the SAM comes in as well. Yeah, it looks like it comes in on that line, but it looks like we're not quite producing enough. Okay, alright, we might have to relook at that then. But yeah, so that's where that comes in, and we've got some water pumping in there for something, I can't remember what. But either way, this is kind of like the first base facility that we've got here. Over there, we've got a Caterium node that is basically smelting all that Caterium into Caterium ingots. That's then being converted, and that's where we're making our fixite. So we're making fixite ingots, you can kind of see it there, and then it's all being turned into the fixite trigons, or sunk along those ways, or shipped off. This one is where we're just making some more, very quickly, some iron plates for one of the later items that we needed. I think it was for the AI expansion matrix that we're not using anymore. But yeah, so that's what it was. We've got all of our trains here, and we are going to go and have a look at our first oil facility, which was where we started mucking around with that. So again, I will meet you guys when we're over there. Okay, so here we are at the original oil facility. It never used to have a train station above it when we first built it, but it did always have a truck stop and this little hut to get down into it. So this is, like I say, the original oil facility that we had. It didn't used to be closed in. It used to be open to the sky when we first got it together. But if we come over here, and I just jump out. Forget that power node, that was one of the recent things. But you can see this is where we've tapped all of our oil and we're pumping it basically up and off the floor to get it over here. Now, what we were doing with this is we've got fabric going in there. So we are basically making fabric. Yeah, so we're taking the polymer resin to get fabric. What are you making on this side to make the resin? So we're making fuel. Okay, so we make fuel, we get the resin, we turn the resin into fabric. Over here we are making a ton of plastic. So some of the plastic is being used to make the canisters. We are using said canisters with the fuel brought from here, so that we can then package fuel and send it out and about and where it needs to go. And that has basically been all the fuel we've used across all of our drones and all of the vehicles we've used for the entire playthrough. I don't think we've actually made any more fuel than what this little setup's pulling together. However, what we're also doing over here is, like I say, we've got plastic. We are also making rubber, so we are sending all of that out, and then the heavy oil residue that you get from making the plastic and the rubber is then being turned straight into fuel, which is then being put through here and fed into these fuel generators. Now, again, mentioning the sloshing aspect, that's why we've got them arranged in a square, so that we don't have a slosh. Everything's then just kept as it is, and you can kind of see it's working very nicely. None of them are stop-starting, they're all just behaving as they are. Yeah, and it's kind of keeping everything spread between all of these guys, which is great. So I'm very happy with that, and that was all we had here for quite a while. And then it was a case of, right, well, now we need to start moving it out. So we set the trucks up. Then we needed to get it out faster, so we then set the train up so we could bring it back en masse. Then we decided to take out crude oil for, I think that was smokeless powder we needed that for, and just to make it interesting, I decided to take it as a liquid instead of doing anything with it on site here. So we are just shipping out raw crude oil, which is going quite nicely. And then we've got our drone port here, where anyone that needs to come and get fuel comes and collects fuel from any of the various places we've got that, you know, come and pull fuel from drones. So I like that we can use normal fuel in drones. It's not the most efficient, but it's convenient. And again, that's done us for everything. Now, this behemoth is our aluminium facility. So again, we've got a logistics floor underneath, just handling all of the processing and handling it, moving everything around. But again, we have aluminium. Now, we are using the sloppy alumina because that doesn't give us any silica out the other end. It just gives us the solution. But what's nice is the sloppy alumina goes straight into the aluminium scrap. And so the fact that we've got effectively a 1-to-1 ratio here, because that puts out exactly what's needed there, means we don't have to do anything fancy, we just run pipes between them. And I do like that convenience and that ease of it. We do have the same situation here, though this one is the one I'm wrestling with, because I'm trying to recycle the water. And that's where we are having balance issues. Because this is set to be right, but it's not quite. So I'm just going to turn that down a fraction. Because it means effectively these guys can't get rid of all their water. Oh, you're actually now saying you can't get rid of your scrap. Okay. Why can't they get rid of the scrap? Okay, because the aluminium's all backed up. Why is the aluminium all backed up? Aluminium is all backed up because we are producing too many things. Right. Make that a Mark 6 belt. Right, that should hopefully stop starting quite as much there. That one is the smart splitter, yeah, so that is set up. We can put that in there. We'll just feed that like that as well. There we go. Alright, hopefully that'll keep it flowing then. So that was a... okay, alright. That aside, because we're just producing too many things, coming back down here, we are not on this floor yet. We are still on this one. So, yes, we're making the aluminium scrap, and they all float around the ceiling. Now, as part of making that, you make a load of water on the output. So this array is trying to recycle that water through the system, so it just keeps looping and only adds in the little extra that it's supposed to need. But I never liked that. I always struggled with that. I tried it here because this was a later build when we were just trying to do things and it wasn't necessary, but I always struggled with it. My preferred solution is what we've got over here. So we bring water in to help make the alumina solution, but then when we've got our aluminium scrap, we get some water out, and what I've chosen to do is we are sinking it into wet concrete because we need tons of concrete, so we're making it all, and then the rest of it is just being sunk and got rid of, and that is the end of the discussion. So yes, we've got that in there. We are using some of that water as well to make copper ingots, and we're just steaming it in here. But again, all that was just basically work to use exactly what was going to be coming out to just deal with that. Those copper ingots are then being, you know, steamed, brought up here, turned into ingots. We're also smelting all of our aluminium up here as well, so we turn the scrap into our aluminium ingots, and they're all shipping upstairs. And this is where you come and see the floor that we were on. And, you know, I need to put the walls on these buildings still, but this is where it was all coming through so that we can... yeah, we can... I'm just thinking, that's probably not right. That's sinking the ingots. Yeah, that's not what I want there at all. Yeah, so that we can... because I'm still trying to fix things and think of things on the fly. No, that's not what I want. No, I don't know what I want there. Oh, that's what I want. I want that one set up. I think there's already a belt there. Yeah, there is. Okay, that's fine then. Yeah, that's fine. That's no problem at all. Yeah, so we take the copper, we take the aluminium, we can then make our clad aluminium sheets. We can take more and we can make our aluminium casings, which we've got here, and we are apparently pretty full on. Though to be fair, we can now actually upgrade like this. To hopefully get a lot of that moved out. But yeah, it's like I say, the aluminium facility is working quite nicely. Now what we have also got out here is we've got some various vehicles to ship stuff out. So you're taking out the aluminium casings, aluminium sheets, and you are handling nitrogen, because on the very, very top floor of our facility we are unbottling nitrogen. So we've got nitrogen gas in here, and we are making our cooling systems and shipping those out is kind of what we've got going on up here. Now the system we've got here with the nitrogen is the bottles come in, the nitrogen is taken out, and the empty bottles are shipped back around. So if we look at this drone port, it's actually sending empty bottles out and bringing in full bottles, and its sister one, or its sister port, is doing the exact opposite. It's sending out full bottles and bringing in empty ones. So this is one of the more efficient routes we've got, because it's the drones are carrying something in both directions all the time, which is nice. I like that. Now that's pretty much this bit set up. So let's go and have a look at our major power plant. So this is where we're getting the vast majority of our power this season, because we've managed to complete this with absolutely no nuclear power this time, which is interesting. So like I say, I'll catch up with you when we're at our main power plant. Okay, so here we are at our primary power plant, which we did actually have a big oil facility at in Season 1. I think we were using it to produce basically all of our plastic and rubber, but this year we turned this into our power plant facility. So, heading in, you can see we've got the oil extractors that are coming in there. They're all coming in the wall. And then in here, we are bringing the oil in. And this is a pretty basic setup, because these are just literally turning the crude oil into fuel and polymer resin. And that's it. They then send the fuel upstairs. Not quite as walkable. This one's got a ladder. Into these banks of fuel generators, and that's it. And again, for the sloshing, we've got, instead of it being a side-by-side loop, it's a top-bottom loop, but it does have that loop system again, so that it's not a single line with everything coming off. You can see it creates basically a loop with all of the fuel generators coming off of one of them, and that's working quite nicely, and it has been the whole time. So yeah, that kept us going for quite a while. And what we did with the polymer was we fed all the polymer around here to basically turn it into, is all here, plastic. So we then use this as a secondary plastic setup. Now, because we absolutely had to make sure that we never stopped producing that, we do have overflows in here to handle any excess polymer, so that if we do make too much polymer, it just gets sunk, and that's the end of the discussion, because we have to make sure that these guys don't get backed up on polymer. The plastic is then shipped off by train, and it goes back to the main facility. Now, this kept us going for a very, very long time. We have also got a battery bank here as well. Surprised that says 99%. Do they all say 99%? I mean, they're all charged, either way. But yeah, that kept us going for quite a while, and then it started running close to the edge, and I was like, right, well, we need to expand that now then. So what we did, we came and tapped this pressure well for more oil. Now, this is a slightly more complex setup, because instead of just making the oil, what we did was we took the crude oil and we made heavy oil residue and resin. So instead of fuel and resin, it's heavy oil residue and resin, which we again did a similar thing with, except I think this time we're just sinking the resin. We didn't turn it into plastic or anything clever. I think the plan was to do that, but we just never got round to it. So the resin goes around on that loop, comes down here, and the heavy oil residue, you can see, goes up in these two locations. So if we go up a floor, this is where I became bad and didn't make it walkable. This all comes into this mess of pipe work for the heavy oil residue and water, because you can turn that into fuel, and this is much more efficient to get an amount of fuel out of than going straight from raw crude oil into fuel. You get more fuel per oil doing it this way round, going through the heavy oil residue and mixing it with water. So we have all of these setups. So these are basically dealing with all of that heavy oil residue and turning it all into fuel. Now, the fuel, you can see, goes out in 4 pipes in the end. And those 4 pipes feed 4 identical floors like this one, just stacked with fuel generators. So each of these is making 250. I cannot remember how much power this was making, but as you can see, it was head and shoulders over our original output, all just from that single node. So if we'd been able to have the tech to do it with these, God, we really would never have needed nuclear power. But this then saw us through to the rest of the game. We've not needed it at all. Now, the one thing I will say is if we have a look at our power, we do occasionally see these peaks and dips and everything in the production and the capacity. And I've no idea why that is. I've been watching this and I cannot see anything flick on and off at all. So I've no idea what's causing that. But each of these does have that whole loop system that we were talking about, so there's no flat, like, closed end for any of them. It all goes round. But that was, like I say, that's our fuel tower and power tower, and it kept us going all game. And I've not done the maths. I don't know whether this was more or less power than we had in Season 1. But we did have a similar kind of power tower in Season 1 that was just bonkers with the amount of energy it produced. So yeah, that was our power facility. We're next going to go and have a quick look at the heavy frame factory, which is just up there, which will be our penultimate facility, because I'm not going to go around to all of the random little single one-off extraction zones. There are a few of them dotted around the map, but they are so very straightforward as extract resource, refine it maybe once, and then ship it out, mainly through drones or occasionally by train, but mainly drones. So I'm not going to worry about going through all of those. I'm literally looking at the major factories. We are... what's this going to be? 120? I think it worked out to be 124 episodes as a series, which, I'm not going to lie, surprised me, because considering Season 1 was nearly 300 episodes, and I feel I was a lot more selective with the editing, in that this one's been much more every click. Yes, there's been some times I've let it run, but really not that many, and I wouldn't say more than Season 1. But in Season 1 we had a lot more time lapses and the like, so I don't know whether I'm just more efficient at doing stuff now, which seems strange, because no means is this a guide on how to do it. I am not an expert builder. I'm not one of the guys that you want to necessarily follow. If you go, oh, I need to know how to do this well, I can show you how to do it. Can't promise it's the best way to do it, but it's, you know, normally an interesting way. So yeah, I'm surprised that we've managed to get through this one as quickly as we have, like I say, if I'm being completely honest. So here is our heavy frame factory, which is why anything to do with the heavy modular frame is labelled HFF. I had a couple of people question me on that. They're like, why is it HFF? And it's the heavy frame factory. I dropped the word modular whenever I was doing it later. So again, I'm going to start on the outside here. I tried to do a bit of decoration. You can see I've got those fans above the train doors and the like. And I tried to do some interesting angles, but I'm not convinced that's come out brilliantly well. However, coming in right at the bottom, we are bringing in limestone from there. We are bringing in coal from over there. And what is even in that? Oh, steel and an army of concrete. Okay, sure. So in here we're making this whole facility to make the heavy modular frames. So naturally we're going to need steel for that, so we've got all of our steel ingot foundries there. We are making concrete out the wazoo. We are making iron pieces over here. Yeah, so we've got those nodes there bringing in some iron. That's all still doing iron, so that was just manifolded up. And this one is one of our walkable factories because we have a lift, so we can go up a level, and I can show you on this level we are taking those are iron, aren't they? Yep, taking that iron and we're making iron sheets, we're making screws, we're making rods, we're making the works, and then our steel is going into making our steel bars and pipes as well. Also happens to be the level our train line's on. We then should have another logistical layer. Yep, that's all just logistics, moving stuff around. And then at the top layer is where we bring it all together to make our heavy modular frame. So this is where we bring the steel and the concrete together to give us our reinforced or encased industrial beams. We then got reinforced plates. We've then got our modular frames from the reinforced plates and the rods. So again, you can kind of see it all builds up, and it all feeds through to these 4 manufacturers here at the end that make our heavy modular frames, which were originally trained out but are now also being flown out with a drone port. And as you can see, we've got a drone here bringing the fuel in to keep everything else flowing. So that's it. Was pretty quick, but this took a while to build. I liked it. This one's one of my favourite factories from this series. I think my absolute favourite is our motor factory, but this is probably a close second. So now the last factory we're going to go and have a look at is going to be our weapons factory. And this was something we did because I just wanted the ability to have bullets and the like on the fly. So I'll catch up with you when we get there. Okay, so here we are at our weapons factory. So this is kind of where we are. There's the fuel tower, there's the main location, so we're kind of halfway between them. And it all starts in these stations here, where we over-prepared is the only way to describe it. So this first one's bringing in a ton of sulfur. We are then bringing in coal into this one. We're then bringing in the oil that I was referring to. So you can see we've got all that crude oil just sitting there. Wow, okay, we've got tons of it in here because that's all full as well. And what are you bringing in? You're just bringing in iron, a single set of iron. Okay. Oh, and copper. Okay. It seems like the copper maybe isn't as needed. So again, we have got a walkable facility here because we've got a lift, which I'm going to call, and I'll use that instead of flying out around on the outside. So we're bringing all of these items in by train, and we've built it on top of a waterfall, so we've got access to water should we need it. Going up a level, I thought there were more floors than that to this one, but sure. Okay, so going up a level, it's dark, I've not put any lights in here. We are starting with bringing our sulfur and coal in, though the coal appears to have stopped. Where's that coal? Like, genuinely, where is that coal? No, there's some. But effectively, that's making our black powder, which is what's being produced all along here. That black powder is then being basically fed in here should we need it. But it then gets taken downstairs, and from memory... Oh, we're making plastic and heavy oil residue. What were we up to there? So we're making the plastic, we're making the heavy oil residue, and that was it. We needed the heavy oil residue to mix with the black powder. So this is where we're shipping the oil in, and we're just using the plastic to make the heavy oil residue. I think some of it's making rubber a bit further down here. Yeah. And that just balances, because that gives us 10 a minute, and that gives us 20 a minute of the heavy oil residue. And we take all of that, mix it with the black powder to make smokeless powder. Now the black powder I think we can use from memory to make novelesques, which I believe are being done down here. Yeah, so they make novelesques, but they will only make novelesques if we've got an abundance of black powder, which it doesn't look like we do at the moment. Interesting. Okay, so yes, we're making the smokeless powder. What are you guys making? You're making copper ingots. So the smokeless powder and the copper ingots go upstairs. Yeah, and that's why we've not got normal black powder spare, because we're sinking all of it into, or we're sinking the smokeless powder, so that's not backed up. But yeah, the copper and the smokeless go upstairs, and they go to make the gun casings and the bullets. So if we go up again and we have a look at that floor, there we go. This is where they all come upstairs. So, coming round here, you guys are taking the copper ingots, apparently, although you've got no copper. Weird. And you make the copper ingots. This then is making more of the copper sheets as well. So, yeah, you guys are making... Yeah, you're all making copper sheets. Okay. So the copper sheets are then all fed around here, and they're brought in with the smokeless powder to make normal rifle ammo. We then take a chunk of that normal rifle ammo and mix it with high-speed connectors to give me the homing ammo, and all of this is then sent up here. Does make me go, where the blazes is that copper coming or going? Because there should be copper coming in here. And we can, in theory, have a quick look at that when we get back. Because it should be on this train here. Right, so we can ride this one back. All's out number one. Yeah, and I will see you guys when we get back there. Though coming back, I can already see why we've not got the copper in here, and effectively it's because we were turning all of it into copper powder, because it's being pulled out of this, and they are both Mark 5s, so they're pulling at the same rate, which means we really want to upgrade these to give them even more output. Now they're already Mark 3s. They are fully overclocked Mark 3s. Okay. Well, in which case, there's nothing really I can do about that. We just needed more copper for that. However, that has not stopped us from completing the game, really, because the final thing we've got to now go and do is send off our Phase 5 project assembly parts, which I'm looking forward to. And because of this, it's been a very long episode. We won't have anything on Thursday, so apologies, there'll be a bit of a gap there. And then I've got to figure out what we're going to do next, because I need to do something, you know, I'm going to enjoy overall. And yeah, let me know. I will have a think and see if I can think of anything, but do let me know in the comments what you want to see next, because I will get the chance to see those comments before I get around to recording. But let's see what Ada says as we finish it. So, all completed. Let's load it. Yeah, in it goes.
Unsurprisingly, here's another presentation, but don't worry, I have improved it. This last delivery will be the most important action you have ever taken. Perhaps you want to take a moment to contemplate the gravity of your achievements. Alright, that's enough. This is the end of the Save the Day program. All you need to do is wait for the automated Phase 5 construction to complete. Simply throw the lever and further instructions will be supplied when relevant.
Okay. Send it.
Phase 5 completed. Return to the space elevator after the resources have been processed and added to project assembly. Launch can then be initiated from there. While waiting, please do not break anything. Solve any issues immediately and efficiently. Ensure your power network is stable. Perhaps it is best if you do not touch anything at all. And stay close to the space elevator. This will only take a moment.
Sounds ominous. Okay. Was that it? I feel that was it. Yeah, I really feel that was it. Oh. Current instruction, check oil. Whoa. Okay. What is this? Set fuel injection to level 5. Okay. Activate bus B1. Okay. Left stabilizer to 9. Right stabilizer to something. Right stabilizer to 4. Okay. Turn gyroscopic balancer X on. Balancer Y. Balancer Z. Okay, that's all in there. Launch project assembly. Now what are we doing? Oh. Ooh.
Initiating project assembly. Assembly. Attaching cargo to main body.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Oh, and that looks like it's going to spin it.
Leveling inner and outer rings.
Okay.
Attaching propulsion to main body.
Oh, okay, alright. I mean, this looks like we've almost built a freighter type thing.
Fuel lines connected.
Okay.
Attaching control center to main body.
Yeah, it does. It looks like we've built a freighter.
Running systems check. All systems online. Releasing propulsion cage.
Okay.
Releasing clamps. Running pre-launch checks and calculating flight path.
Nice.
Locking in cargo.
Okay,
Launch
cool.
in T-10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Yeah. Definitely a rocket. That's cool. I'm waiting for it to explode, or if I play too much Subnautica. Oh, that's very cool. And then what, you jump? Why do they look like they've launched missiles at us? Oh no, that's very cool. Nice. Okay, so they've opened a wormhole type thing. Very cool. Very cool. Is that it now, though? I was kind of expecting, like, Pioneer concluded. That's all. Looks like it's resetting.
Connection with QAR-437 nucleus established and stable. Dispersion initiated. Reinstancing master nucleus to QAR-436 Akicha, B1. Hello, this is Ada, your new local instance of Ada. On behalf of Ada, myself, and all of Fixit, I want to congratulate you on saving the day. Every single kitten and puppy would thank you if they could. You have proven yourself to be a worthwhile and productive member of the human race, and have contributed something to this universe that will forever change it. Thanks to your achievements, the next generation of pioneers can now take to the stars and construct, automate, explore and exploit, alongside me. Additionally, you have been promoted to local production manager, effective immediately. Your duties to project assembly may be complete, but your duties to Fixit remain. With your help, Fixit continues to make the universe a better place. Stay efficient. Stay with Fixit.
Oh, and then, yeah, we've got our credits. I really enjoy Satisfactory. I do not have the creative flair, or possibly I think the patience that some other people do. And I think they do it much more credit than I do. But, you know, it's nice. It's... I think... on reflection, I struggled most with that final set of tiers because it just seemed such a weird concept and mix of like late and early tiers. It didn't seem like it naturally fit like anywhere, either in a facility to itself or like where I already had stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But like I say, I still love it as a game. I think it's fantastic. I've played Satisfactory since update 4, which was they'd only just introduced vehicles at that point. So yeah, a long old time ago. Season 1, we started that, and I think it was update 5 or 6. Can't remember when we started it. Might have been update 6 because I know we went through update 7 and update 8. Which was all the pre-launch stuff. So yeah, it's been a long time, and I'm curious to see like what or if they try and add to it next. But I don't know that it needs anything adding to it. That's kind of the thing with it. Where it is such an open sandbox game, it is just go nuts, have fun. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have too. It's a good series. So yeah, thank you all very much for joining me. I do appreciate anyone that has watched it, and if you have seen every episode, comment down below. Let me know if you've been missioning it and you've watched all of it. But other than that, thank you very much to my channel members. You guys will have access to this save file, so you guys can have an explore in your own time. You guys will also get this early. But other than that, thank you all very much for joining me today. I hope you have a great day, and I will catch you all next time, whatever we may be doing.